Okay. How's it going, everybody? Today we're meeting for the pro chat for November, which is the Hummingbird Kits. Is it coding with Hummingbird Kits, if I'm right? Coding and programming with Hummingbird.
That's not mine. Put it in the garbage. I'll take the I don't want that.
Walk.
Barnaby, it's programming with Hummingbird Kits, right?
That sounds right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, brought to you by the Pennsylvania Smart Advancing Grant. This month again is Chris Barnaby teaching it, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him kick things off.
You have to let us know, okay? We have to be accountable.
All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our pro session here. Hopefully this won't take long, and hopefully you find it fun, and I think your students will too as well. So as Micah said, so this is programming with the Hummingbird Kits.
Bring the joystick up.
Yeah, can we if you guys can do me a favor, if you're yeah, thank you for muting. I appreciate it. But yeah, once again, so this is computing with Hummingbird Kits, and more importantly, kind of this piece of the equation, which is a microbit. And we'll kind of go over all the components here. Okay, we need another link for the project ideas. We'll get that in here. But basically what we're going to do and what the kids are going to do. Oh, okay, give me a minute with the project ideas. I'll get to there in a second. But what we're going to be making with our kids here is a very basic robot, essentially. So you and your kids are going to be building a robot and doing some basic code with it to make it to kind of like an animatronic go here. So this is going to be kind of an active session. There's going to be a lot of moving around. So like as I demonstrate, please bear with me. I'm on my iPad right now. So like I'm going to be sharing my screen, showing you some like coding, but then I'm also going to be bringing up my camera to actually be showing you like the physical components and everything else. So hopefully I don't make you too dizzy. If I do, please kind of shout out. I want to start with kind of going over, the major components of the Hummingbird Kits and like everything that's in here. What we're going to be doing this Saturday, again, it's probably like the most basic project that we can do. So, great thing about this is that, like, as I like to say, there's a low basement. It's easy to get into. And that's kind of the project that I'm going to be showing you and that we're going to be doing. But at the same time, once you're into it, the sky's the limit. So there's, you can do as complicated as you want almost with these kits, or as basic as you want. Again, I'm going to be showing and kind of demonstrating a basic project. But if you got a kid or some kiddos that are, want to kind of reach for the stars, they can do that. And I'm going to be showing you some different ways that you can encourage that too. Okay. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to just kind of give you a tour of these kits and what's in there to start out. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to bring up my camera. All right, so you should be seeing my screen right now. All right. So can someone unmute because I don't have access, like I'm not on Zoom right now. Can you guys see my screen? Can you kind of see my Hummingbird kit here?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm on my iPad, so a little bit limited capabilities with Zoom, so that feedback is greatly appreciated. All right, so little tour of our Hummingbird kits, all that's in here. So I'll start with the actual board itself. So this is these two are the most important components here. So we start with our microbit. This is our brain. So this is absolutely the most important component. You can actually give and do whole coding lessons just with the microbit if you want to. You can go to the microbit website, and they have projects that you can follow along with. Essentially, what this is, like, you'll hear people call this like a microcontroller. Essentially, though, in a basic sense, this is a $15 computer right here. It was developed by the BBC in England in like collaboration with Microsoft. And kind of the intent was to teach younger students, younger kids, how to code, how to program. They had in England a while back, to this day, they actually have a very, very strong computer science initiative there, getting students into that field, and this was part of it. I know at one point in a lot of middle schools in Great Britain, it was required for students to have, like in their handbooks, students had to have these on them all the time. So certain schools like required that students always have their microbit with them. But so that's our main component. This is our $15 computer. There's some sensors built in to this. There's like an accelerometer. It can tell how fast it's going. It can tell if you tilt it. These are LEDs in the front. That can light up, and you can light them up in like certain patterns. These LEDs can also, you can kind of switch them, and they can also serve as a light sensor too as well. There's actually a speaker on the back, though we do have a more powerful speaker here. So a lot that you can do. There's buttons here, like a lot that you can do with this $15 computer. It's pretty cool invention. And that brings us to our next, probably our second most important component. So this is actually our HummingBird board here. And the way to think about this is like, you often hear this called like a breakout board. And there's several different types of breakout boards on the market that work with microbit. HummingBird is one of the more popular ones. They're actually based out of Pittsburgh. So this was actually just some trivia. Some professors from Carnegie Mellon University kind of broke off and started this company. And they're still based out of Pittsburgh too. So this, breakout board, how this works. Let me set my iPad down. So how this will work is you'll take your microbit, and there's a slot at the top, and that snaps in the top like this. So kind of the idea, right? So as I said, like the microbit is kind of a really basic $15 computer. What this HummingBird kit does is it greatly expands the capabilities of the microbit. So there's a lot more that you can do. So you can hook up, here, let me turn around for you. You can hook up sensors to this, like even more sensors, and a lot of them actually come in the kit. You can actually do on this side here, you can attach motors. So you can actually program the microbit to turn like a 360 motor or like a 180 servo motor. And then these panels up top, these are for like your LEDs. So you can program a light up show if you wanted to. And of course, speaker there. For power, so whenever you put like a microbit, so powering the microbit itself doesn't require like a lot of power. Like you could power the microbit with 2 AAA batteries. When you start adding breakout boards, that's when it requires more power. And they do come with a 4 AA power pack and a barrel port there. So I'm going to be using, I do have an AC adapter. So I'm going to be using that, but just keep in mind too, for for Saturday, you will need some batteries to power this up, unless you have an AC adapter that fits. Okay. All right. So kind of continuing, what else is in here? So again, these are your major components, the microbit itself and our HummingBird breakout board. So after that, what we have is we have two different types of servo motors. And that's what we're going to be working with with the project that we do on Saturday and the one that I'm going to show you today. Okay, so two different types. So one is what's called a rotation server. And as you could probably guess from the diagram, this rotates at a 360-degree angle. So this would be continuous. It would move in one direction, or you could program it to go in reverse. So this would be a useful servo if you wanted to make something like a robotic or self-driving car or rover. You would need this to turn your wheels, and actually they do come with wheels on this too as well. Next type of server, and this is the one that we're going to be working with the project that I'm going to show you, is a position servo. So position servo, this does not move continuously. It does not move in a 360 degrees. This moves 180 as you can see by the diagram. So it can move to the right, to the left, up to 180 or to negative 180. And with that, connecting it, so usually like when you have the rotation servo, as I mentioned, you're going to be using wheels with that to make like some sort of rover, more than likely. With the position servos, you actually have some add-ons that you can snap onto. These are called horns, actually, that you can snap onto the top of the servo. And different designs, like there's a star, there's a 4-point. What we're going to be using is just the two-sided horn. Sorry, my lights have kind of went off. Let me get those turned back on. There we go. All right, so we're going to be using the two-sided horn, and those can snap on just like that. And basically what we're going to be doing in the project is we're going to be attaching this to kind of like a craft. We're going to like be building like our own characters that we like. So maybe a character from a video game, from a favorite movie, or from a book that we really like. And then we're going to be attaching that character to this horn and applying some rotation. So it's going to be like an animatronic. So that's going to be like our basic project that we're going to do. And again, you're probably going to have some kids that are going to want to take it to the next level. So, and we'll have time for that too. Okay. All right. After that, I'll show you the kind of some of the other things that are in this kit. Again, like we're not going to get to it with the project that we do on Saturday or the one that I show you. But again, you might have some kids that want to, extend this. Did someone have a question? Okay. Did someone have a question? I'm sorry. Okay. I'll keep going then. So kind of the other components that are in this kit. So we have sensors that we can work with. Again, with the project that we're going to be doing, or the project that I'm going to show you, we're not going to get, I'm not going to be using these sensors. However, if you have kids that are at that level and want to take on the challenge, by all means, this is an option. So this right here is a distance sensor. So it can, detect objects at a certain range. This would be excellent if you wanted to make like a self-driving car or a rover or something like that. Next we come to, we have like a dial switch that you can turn. So, you can actually use this to like control like a position servo. As you turn the dial, it could turn the servo too as well. A light sensor. As I mentioned too, there are light sensors on the microbit itself through the LEDs, but you can also attach a third-party light sensor too as well to the board. And then last sensor that comes with this is an audio sensor. So you can program something to happen like on a clap or when a certain noise is present. Okay, after our sensors and our servos, these do come with actually two different types of LEDs. So first would be like your basic light up LEDs. And then we also have tricolor LEDs where you can actually switch the color that's flashing. So again, like the project I'm going to show you here today, it's not going to use LEDs. We're not going to use sensors. We are going to use the servo motors. But by all means, come Saturday, if you have kids there, we can certainly help them out and kind of do more advanced things. I could definitely see, just to give you guys a heads up, I can definitely see a few kids reaching for at least the LEDs, like adding kind of a little light show to their project too as well. And these are pretty easy to program too. Okay. All right, so before I move on, I think I covered the major components. Let me go back into Zoom. Are there any questions that you have with? Let me just stop sharing real quick here. Any questions you have as far as like the components that are in your kits? Okay, so awesome. I'll move on. So what we'll talk about next is how you can get ideas for projects. Like, how did I get the idea for the project that I'm going to do? Well, the answer to that is, so HummingBird has a great website, and the company is called BirdBrain Technologies. And I'll put this link in the chat right now too. But if you go into HummingBird and if you go to teach, and underneath the HummingBird robotics kits, if you go to projects, they have a whole lot of different projects and ideas that you could do with kids using this kit. And again, these projects are going to range from very, very simple, like the one that we're going to do, to much more advanced. But this could be a place too, and just thinking ahead, in the weeks and months to come. If you have kids that really enjoy this project and enjoy working with this is a place that you can go and you can send kids to really extend themselves. So the project that we are going to do is going to be, they call it the My First Animated Character, and it's this one right here. But as you can see, there's a few other different starter projects in here as well that you could do. Like the My First Game is kind of enticing. My First Scene, like you could do a scene from a video game, things like that. That also looks good too. So let me right now, just for your information, copy this link and put that into our chat. All right, so I put that projects link into the chat. It's in there now, if you want to and want to have it. One thing I will say about that is that when you look at a project, like it's going to give you like the basics and schedule and standards and videos of what it's going to look like and examples and everything. If you want like the coding examples and everything, you do have to get access to that, and they want to code. And what you'll need to do is register, which I did, but I lost my code. and I'm trying to find it. So I did contact them to send me another access code. So I'm waiting on that. So what I'll have for you, hopefully by Saturday, is if you don't want to register yourself, which you can do. I mean, it's free, it doesn't cost anything. If you want to register, go ahead, and they'll get you an access code so that you can have access to like these full projects and everything. Or if you don't want to do that, I can just share my code with you, and I'll have that for you Saturday too. Okay. All right, so let's begin with building my first character project, which again, we're going to end up with something that looks like this. In fact, I'm kind of copying off of them here. All right. All right, so first steps, I need to get my, I'm going to get my microbit and my breakout board ready. Okay, so I have my microbit snapped into the HummingBird kit, and then I have power. Status is green, we're good. We have power flowing. And then you can see, like, when I first plug in my my microbit, it's kind of giving me like a code here. Like first it gives me like 3 letters, and then it gives me a number. That's going to be important here in a second, because I'm going to have to pair that to my iPad here, and I'm going to be using that to connect it. Okay, so at this point, what I'm ready to do, and again, bear with me, I'm going to be jumping back and forth between my camera and that BirdBlox app. So at this point, I'm going to open up my BirdBlox app. Okay. And what I want to do right now, yeah, and it kind of sense too that I'm in the app, but I want to, in the top left, there's kind of like a hummingbird icon and like a link icon. So this is where I want to connect the microbit to this app. Okay. So, okay, so right now I'm not connected. So if I tap on that, connect device, okay, and it senses, the microbit is flashing that code, and it senses that the microbit is near. And you can see CSG, that was the first 3 letters that were flashing. CSG stands for apparently Carrying Silver Griffin. So that's kind of the name that they gave to this microbit. So each microbit is going to have a unique name. And I can select that. Okay, I should get like a beep. Okay. And here's like where the tough part is, like it might not connect right away. So you might have to like unplug it. You might have to disconnect. So when I was doing this morning, it took I did have to like disconnect and then reconnect again to get it going. All right, I'm going to try different microbit here. Save me some time troubleshooting it.
Hey, Chris,
Yeah,
is the microbit portion, I'm assuming, Wi-Fi capable, and that's why you're able to find it so easily?
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's working with Bluetooth. All right, so I got it. I don't know if you saw the steps. So I can see us, probably the most complicated part is getting this to connect. So I don't know if you watched kind of some of the troubleshooting that I did, but I can almost guarantee you're going to have to do a little bit of troubleshooting to get this to connect. So I ended up having to just like force close the BirdBlox app and then reopen it, disconnect and reconnect. And that got us going. So you can see we have like a couple of different devices here. But they're all, all of them are going to be gray except for the HummingBird bit, right? And that's us. So that's what we want to look. These are the blocks that we're going to be working in. So that's good. Okay. And we have a couple different categories of blocks. So, those relate to the robots, operators. This is where you do like logic, sounds. This is another extension, a way that I can see kids kind of extending it. Tablets, so you can do some, there's some sensors in your iPad that you can use to control the microbit, and then control. So keep that in mind. We have a couple areas. So this should look familiar if for those of you who have ever done Scratch before, right? So this is going to work kind of like Scratch if you've done that. And if you haven't done it, I can almost guarantee you that you probably had some kids that have worked in Scratch too. So it should be familiar for them. Okay. Okay. So that being said, what I'm going to do is before I start coding, I'm actually going to build my physical part of this, like the physical robot part. Okay, so I'm going to switch. I'm going to keep this on the back burner now, and I'm going to switch over to my camera. Okay, and basically, that project that I showed you, I'm going to recreate it. So they like used a cup, so I already have a lot of this pre-made. And what I did is I cut out a hole in the cup so that I can fit the servo, our not rotation servo, our position servo into that hole. I already snapped on the two-way horn onto that. I think I forgot to mention too, like those baggies with the horns in them come with like screws. You do not need to screw the horn on. It's not necessarily, especially not for this project. If you're doing something a lot more heavy duty, yeah, you might want to screw that in, but not here. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of assemble all this right now, and I do have a hot glue gun ready to go. So as you're actually assembling your animatronic, you're assembling your robot. So totally up to you what you want to use. Tape can work great, like masking tape, things like that. I always like to use like hot glue guns because like, and you can glue onto the servos and everything, and you can kind of glue onto the horns, onto the servos, and then that just peels off afterward. I do recommend if you are going to glue onto the servo itself, I do recommend putting some like masking tape onto the servo before you put some hot glue on it, just to protect it a little bit more. And it cleans up easier that way too. But that's something that you can do. Yeah, tape, hot glue will work good. So I have the holes cut in my cup. I have one back that's going to be for my cord. And don't make fun of me here. I kind of have a sad, forget which Toy Story it was, but you guys might remember like the spoon that they found in Toy Story, that one spoon character. So I kind of made my own kind of sad version of a spoon. Okay. But, this is kind of the creative portion of it. So we'll definitely give kids time to kind of build their character, maybe think about a book, movie, video game character that they want to recreate. Now mine is just going to move back and forth. Again, students can kind of enrich themselves, go a little bit further. Maybe they want to take like an attribute of that character and move it. Like if I'm going to do Mario, maybe I have like Mario fixed, and then I have like a fireball moving out of his hand that I can program. So, I mean, definitely feel free to get creative as you want. For our purposes, I'm just going to keep it simple here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put our rotation servo into the cup. That kind of fits like that. And then our cord is going to come out the notch that I put in the back. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is get out my board here. And I'm going to be working in the servo section here. So you can see I have a plug. I don't know if you can see at the top by the green light. So we have S, plus, and negative. The black wire is always negative. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that means I'm going to clip it in like that. Okay. All right, so I have that done. Now I got to take Spoonie, I'll call him Spoonie here, and I need to attach my character to the servo horn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on my spoon, or you know what, I'm going to maybe put a couple dots on the servo horn. Then I'm going to attach it. Okay. So hopefully it does not fly off when I have this thing going. But that's what I have right now. Everything is connected and we're ready to program and get this thing moving a little bit here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to exit on my camera, go back into my BirdBlox app, and let's start adding some code. So first place I'm going to go is I'm going to go to control. I'm going to get started here. I'm going to use this block when the flag is tapped. And what they mean by the flag is this thing in the upper right. So basically, whenever I want that code to start, I'm going to click on the green flag. When I want it to stop, I'm going to click on the stop sign there. Okay. Next, I'm going to do a loop. So, you know, I'm going to say how often do I want this to repeat? And basically, I'm just going to say I want it to repeat forever. Which basically means it's going to repeat until I tell it to stop by pressing the stop sign. Okay. So next in my robot blocks, okay, you can see there's a block here for the position servo. Okay. And what I have to do now, also something I should point out, I think I forgot to mention this. So you can see position servo, and then they're numbered ports 1, 2, 3, and 4. Very important. It matters. It matters a lot which port that you plug into. And you and your students need to keep that in, or you and your kids need to keep that in mind. So in servos, you can see these ports are numbered. And you can see I plugged into port number 1. So I want to keep that in mind as I code that right now I'm in port 1. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is we're on servo 1 and I have to tell it how far do I want it to rotate. So we can go from 0 to 180. So I think first rotation, why don't we go to like 175? Okay, and then second rotation. So that's going to turn one way. Second rotation, maybe we'll put that to 5. Okay, so it's gonna be a big movement here. Okay, moving back and forth. The thing that I found, if I would run this code now, it would be trying to move too fast. So one thing that you do have to do is in between each turn, put a wait in. So I'm gonna like have it wait 1 second between each turn. Okay, and then when I'm ready to test this out, I have my green flag in the top right. Okay. So this is working. So I'm gonna switch over to my camera right now. You can see since I left the app. Let me see if I can do a split screen here. Every time I leave the app, it. Yeah. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Take my word for it, it is working. Every time I press that green flag, we have movement. So I'm going to stop it right now. And just point out to you one small issue that I found. So when I did have it moving, it wasn't moving in the direction that I wanted. So basically it was going from here, like down to here, and then back up to here. So let's say if like I wanted to move this way or this way. So that's an easy fix. So what I'm going to do is kind of adjust it here. Oops. And I'm just going to, all right, bear with me a minute. So I'm going to adjust it this way, and let's see if that makes it better. As soon as you guys aren't going to be able to see it move. All right. Yeah, I wish you could see it right now, but it's kind of moving perfectly, just how I want. I'll try to bring up my camera to get. Okay. Yep. All right. So that's basically it. I mean, that's the extent of the project. Very simple code. But again, you know, I could definitely see your students or some students wanting to take this above and beyond. So, you know, some different places you could take it is they can do a different project. Let me get back into Zoom and I'll stop sharing my screen here. Okay, but you know, feel free to dive into some of those different projects. If you have a kid that's ready for them, you know, I can see some kids wanting to do the self-driving car, wanting to do the rover, or maybe doing this project and then wanting to add maybe lights to it, or maybe, you know, adding 2 different position servos to it, having 2 different moving components to it could be a way that you can extend it. I could definitely see some students adding some sound to it, adding some music, some noise as it goes. So, you know, a lot of different directions where I think this can go. You know, kind of our goal is to kind of give you that low basement, but where the kids take it is up to them. And so I think my role on Saturday, just to let you guys know, is, you know, I'm gonna right off the bat show that simple basic project, And then I'm going to be on hand, as students kind of wrap that up and they have questions on how they can kick it up a notch. I'll be kind of like a consultant saying like, well, okay, here's how you can add sound. Here's, here's what you can do with the LEDs. So we can, that's kind of my plan on Saturday, just showing the basics and then seeing where the kids want to take it after that. And then we can go from there. So with that, are there any questions? How are we feeling? Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, figure kind of the idea. Let's keep it simple to start and then see where it goes from there. Okay, so all of you should have the information of the app. So make sure if you haven't already, so the app is BirdBlox that you'll need. Make sure that's downloaded. And then in the chat, I did put, in case you have kids that want extra, I did put those project ideas in there for you. And then I'll try to have an access code, but you're welcome to register for free and get an access code from BirdBrain if you want. Okay. All right, Micah, are you still in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that's it for me, unless anyone has any questions.
I copied the project ideas, so I'll also email that out along with a link to the Pro Chat YouTube video. Basically, this is gonna get emailed out after it's done uploading. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email before Saturday, and I'll see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Other than that, I'll see you guys all this Saturday.
We love you.
All right, see you guys Saturday.
Bye.
Yeah, it'll be